So what's up, you guys? It's your girl Queen Boss Lady, and I'm back to do part. I don't know. I think 3 or 4. This might be part 4. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting into the nitty gritty and the meat of things, cause I can go on and on and on and on, and on and on and on about this malicious, ruthless family that God allowed me to be birthed into. But He birthed me into this family for this reason right here. Um, so as I became older, like I said, my immediate family, they believed that me and my little brother was mentally retarded, and I didn't even try to understand why, because I've seen mentally retarded people before. Like, they're in wheelchairs, they can't see, they're deformed, their eyes aren't, their hands aren't, and I've seen some, you know, it's different strands. But when they told my brother Jamal that I was retarded, he wasn't going for it. When they told him I was retarded, he was not going for it. I just remember him taking me in the room and him grabbing, like, he was crying, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he was like, I know it's nothing wrong with you. I know it's nothing wrong with you, but, like, you know how you check your child and you look at their hands, and he was doing that to me, and he was looking at my hands, and he was looking at me in my face, and he was like, no, I know it's nothing wrong with you. But he began to cry, and I never seen my brother cry before, so this just was very, like, I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I began to comfort him and tell him everything is gonna be okay, because I never seen him cry before, and he snatched the Bible off the dresser, and he was like, what's this word right here? And I was like, I don't know it. And y'all, he just started crying even more, and he was like, it's the or whatever. And then he was like, what's this word right here? And I was like, I don't know. And he just began to cry again, y'all. And he held me on the side of him, and then he had the book, and he started teaching me how to read. And he was like, this is the word the, and he was like, repeat after me. When I say the word, then you say the word. So I remember him teaching me the word the and a couple other words out of the Bible. And he was like, I just want you to if you can just remember these words and just practice them. And he said, every time I come visit you, I'm going to read with you, and we're going to read together. And we would. And so I got a little bit, I just got familiar with, a few words or whatever that I could remember. But I do remember, like, he taught me some words, and I was so excited because I had learned some words. Like, I knew those words whenever I seen them. There's that's the word that's the, and he had taught me. And so, meanwhile, back at the ranch, my sister was thrilled to tell everybody that I was mentally retarded, and I had learning disabilities, whatever it was, whoever would listen, they just told the whole world. They told all their friends. They told all their friends at school. You know how you tell somebody, like, oh, I got a famous cousin, like, we know of, now I was about to say Tupac, but just imagine Tupac's cousins, like, they went to school, like, Tupac our cousin, he be at the family reunion. There's pictures of him right here. Like, that's how they did me. Like, I got a mentally retarded sister. I got a slow sister. Blah blah blah. Like, and I'm saying that because, that's where defamation of character come in at. Like, ever since I met them, they ruled me as mentally retarded, and I met them when I was 5 or 6 years old. And so this caused a lot of, you know, problems in my life. People in the family would always just stare at me because they knew that, you know, what my family was saying, you know, it just didn't quite add up. And they would always try to convince me. It's like I want to go do this. Oh, you can't do that because you mentally retarded. Like, and it's like I would see other mentally retarded people, like they would be in wheelchairs and they would be slobbing, and their moms would be like loving them, and you know, they would come to school and love on these kids, and but they still just looked so different from me. Like, so I wasn't understanding either. I'm like, and why do they have to like convince me? Like, I had a special needs, what I call them, cousin, and I never heard her family like trying to convince her that she was a special needs person. Like, they would try to, you know, help her do normal things like cook and, you know, get in the kitchen and help mom cook and teach her how to cook and things like that, and how to fold her clothes, and it's like I knew how to do all those things, and my mom was using me as the family Cinderella to do all of these things, and I never got paid. I remember being in middle school and in elementary school, it was anywhere between elementary school and middle school. Like, my mom just used me as the family Cinderella. If my cousin needed her house clean, she would go, come on, let's go. Take me to my cousin's house, tell me, oh, you finna clean up her house. I would clean up her own house, not because like I was told to, because I thought like that's what family is for. Like, that's what family does. Like, if you need them, like, you should be able to call on them and stuff like that. But I wasn't realizing that I was just being used because they said that I was mentally retarded. So I would clean up their house, never got paid. I would do their hair. I remember because my mom would never do my hair, and if she did my hair, she would cough. Literally, she would cough, spit, hack, sneeze in my hair. It was such a drag. Oh my God, like hit me in the head with the comb, just like, you know, things like that. So she really didn't comb my hair a lot. So I learned how to do my hair at a very young age. I would say like 5th grade, I started doing my hair. Like, I was responsible for my own hair. So I learned how to braid. Oh, you know how to braid? So I'm braiding everybody's hair in the family. Nobody ever paid me. And then I became the babysitter in the family because my sister started having children at a very young age because my mom allowed her to start dating when she was like 14. Like, grown men would come to the house. My sister was like 14, 15 years old, and my mom would let her go with these grown men and tell them to have her back by 12 or 1 or whatever, you know. And I remember seeing a grown man come to my house and get my sister and leave with her. And my mom, sitting there with that same cigarette that she'd been smoking for years, was like, oh, have her back at like, she said either 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So as, you know, I'm coming into adulthood, I have, you know, no family, no friends. My mom has literally chased everyone in the family, like shunned them out, to not fool with me, to not mess with me. She taught my brothers to steal from me. They would constantly, my little brother and my other brother, not Joe or Jamal. Joe and Jamal did not live in the same house with us, but they would just come and visit us. But Jamal still never stole from me. Joe did steal from me too. I forgot to mention that in the other video when they took me to Daytona and I gave him my credit card to go in the store to get me my personal bottle of Hennessy. He swiped all the money off my card because when I got home, all my money was gone. Like I said, y'all have to go back and watch the video, but I had just gotten paid, so it was like $800 or $900 on my card. You know, kind of take away like 200, so it was like, you know, close to $700 on my card. And he took all that money off my card when he went into the liquor store or whatever. So back to me, you know, being a teen, and my mom would isolate me. I couldn't come out the room. I was only allowed to come out the room as it only if I was cleaning. If she was having a bad day, she would cuss me out. If she got into it with my dad, she would cuss me out very badly. Just call me all kind of names, tell me I'm not gonna be nothing. Just verbally abusing me on top of, you know, everything that I had gone through as a child. I even asked her one time, like, can we get counseling? She said no. So just speeding up things to an adult, because I can just go on and on and on about the brutal things that they did to me. So my dad, like I said, I was never like invited to his side of the family or anything like that. But what he would do was they both was narcissistic. Just, I'm talking about to the fifth power. I remember one time, like, I'm an adult now, so I'm speaking in my adulthood. I rode past my dad's house, and it was a whole bunch of people over there. So I told my friend, I was like, well, I guess I'll stop and say hey to my dad. Y'all, it was a Sunday, and I guess they had all came from church and then went back to, you know, my grandma's house and was just eating and chilling. This looked like something they do every Sunday, you guys. But like I said, I had never been invited, even as a child. What he would do is, it's like so many people. He didn't introduce me to none of these people as his daughter. He didn't even introduce me. And so I'm sitting down beside him, and it's like so many people, everybody going in the house and getting plates and things like that, and coming out, and everybody just talking, laughing, eating, having a good time. It's big coolers. They just going in the cooler, helping themselves. My dad didn't offer me a bottle of water. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, so, hey, Dad, what you been up to? And he just started laughing, and then he was like, so, you know you was born with 6 fingers, right? In front of everybody. And I'm like, no, I was never born with 6 fingers. And he was like, yes, you was. You was born with 6 fingers, and the doctors had to cut one off. I was like, no, that never happened. I was never born with 6 fingers. And he was like, yeah, huh, yes, huh, yes, huh. And this is the like the goofy look that he has. Like, I know how to imitate people very well. So he's like, yeah, huh, yeah, huh. And I'm like, no, I was not born with 6 fingers. And so he was like, what's that right there on your leg? I had a bump on my leg because I had it swollen. My leg had swollen up. And I think I had bumped into something, and it swelled up, and I didn't, you know, when you bump into something and you don't put ice on it, because I didn't put ice on it, so like the dang on swelling stayed in, the lump like stayed on, the knot stayed on my leg. So he like, oh, what's that right there? And I'm like, I bumped my leg. And he like, yeah, right. And I'm like my angels and my spirit guides, like, they start talking to me like, you know, he trying to say you sick or something like that. He trying to pick on you. And so I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and go. Like, I started feeling uncomfortable because I'm already around a whole bunch of strangers that he didn't introduce me as his daughter. He didn't even introduce me at all. And he just said I was born with 6 fingers. So my dad over the years would repeatedly do things like that. Like, if we get around a whole bunch of people, he would do the same. You know you mentally retarded, right? You know you a crack baby, right? Your mama smoked crack with you, right? And I'll be like, I don't think I'm mentally retarded. Okay, I may have a learning disability, and at this point, I said like I have a learning disability, but I know how to learn now. Like I've taught myself like how to learn, and I've taught myself how the way that I learn, and still not taking accountability for the one causing this trauma and everything. But I have learned that as an adult, I take accountability for, you know, certain things that I've gone through, even if it's not my fault. I just take accountability for it. It's not right, but it makes it easier for me. I just take accountability for, me having a learning disability, because I don't know. It's something I'm still working on. I take accountability for a lot of things that's not my fault, and that's another reason why I'm telling my testimony, because recently they've wanted me to own up to something that I didn't do. So I'm not owning up to it, and I'm standing on business, and I'm standing on my truth, and I'm telling my truth. So he would do that. Like, he got me in front of some other people and told me that I was a crack baby, and my mom smoked a lot of crack with me. I was born with crack in my system, and I was like, well, I never knew that. This is your first time telling me that. But I'm like, okay. And then the man was like, well, she the beautifulest crack baby I ever seen. And I was like, thank you. And he was like, don't tell her that. And then just on another occasion, like, if anybody would compliment me, or say how nice I look or how kind I am, oh my God, it would put him, it's like it lit a fire to his ass or something like that. I remember one time this lady was at my grandma's house, and we all outside. Like, he always keep a bunch of people. Like, people liked my dad. Like, and hey, that's their thing. That's their cup of tea, and it is what it is. So this lady literally said that I have beautiful eyelashes. Oh my God, why did she say that? He went overboard. I had beautiful eyelashes too when I was her age. All I gotta do is wet them. Or they used to like to see my eyelashes when I come out of the water, out of the pool. They used to be so long, and I'm like I was getting this energy of like my dad wanted to compete with me and things like that. So it started getting creepy after when I started dating my baby daddy. And at first, when I was an adult, it got creepy because I had gotten my first apartment when I was 17, because my mom kicked me out because I got my first apartment when I turned 18, and my mom kicked me out because I went and got a tattoo on my 18th birthday. I went and got a tattoo, and I bought my friend out because she had a rental car. I wanted her to drive me around, so I paid for her rental car. I paid for her to get a tattoo. I paid for her to eat out with me. I paid for her clothes. And then I had to be to work the next day after my birthday. So the plan was she was going to drop me off, and I was going to go in and get washed up and put my work clothes on, and she was going to swing back by and pick me up and just drop me off at work. Now, this is how we lived. Like, you got to pass by my mom's house to get out of the area we lived in. So this friend of me went to her mom's house and left me. And I was calling her. I'm like, it shouldn't take that long for her to swing back by and pick me up. So I'm calling her. And she just keeps sending me the voicemail. This is one of my mom's agents who would gang stalk me, gaslight me, and do things like that. So after I called her like 20 times, y'all, that 20th time, I cussed her out. I'm like, B, I just spent all this money on balling you out with me for my birthday. I paid for your rental car. Because when I called her, she was all in distress. She was actually at the rental car place turning it in, and she was sad because she didn't have a ride from even up there. And I was like, no, 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 don't turn it in. I got you. I'll pay for it for 2 more days if you run me around for my birthday. And she was like, cool. So everything that I did, I literally paid for this girl to do it. And she literally dropped me off after I bawled her out for the whole day for my birthday. She dropped me off and wouldn't even give me a ride to work. So, like, that last time I cussed her out, I'm on her voicemail. I'm like, bitch, you's a scandalous ass hoe. Like, I fucking gave you all this money and I'm only cussing because that's what I was doing on her voicemail. So, I'm like, you ain't no friend. Like, you ain't no good. Like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But my mom had already gotten to her mom. Actually, her mom does witchcraft. Her mom does voodoo. Her mom is a voodoo priest or whatever. And so, like, she was really trying to gaslight me, and she did, so I cussed her out. So, I had to pay my mom to take me to work, so my mom cussing me out. After I done paid her to take me to work, she still cussed me out. So, then by the time I clock in, I'm on the clock. I got my sister a job at my job. Worst decision I ever made in my life. Because I was such a good employee. My employee was like, hey, if you got some friends that work like you, like, I'll hire them on the strength of you. So I got at the time, supposedly one of my enemies and one of my sisters. But I'm going to tell that story on another date. But because I cussed her out, she called my mom and told my mom that I got a tattoo and everything like that. So my mom called me at work and was like, oh, when you get home, you get your shit and get the fuck out or whatever. So when I got home, all my shit was on the garage. Literally, I would help my mom pay her bills. I had a job ever since I was 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, working in the family, ironing my uncle clothes, doing hair, babysitting. I just never got paid for any of it. But this was like the second job that I had gotten, because I had got a summer job and we would work during the summer cleaning the school, and we would get $500 every 2 weeks. So that's the only way I was able to like buy my school clothes and buy my stuff like that. Other than that, like, my mom really wasn't taking care of me, you know, ever since I can remember. But so I came home and all my stuff was out on the garage and it was already packed. My dad did buy me a car, and that's what I say. They show up in little splats, so it make it seem like soon as I'm onto them, it's like they'll splat. But it's like the things that he said about my brother's murder is like, it let me know then, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he went off on me and was asking me, you know, like, if I had the money to pay for the hit that was put out on him and blah, 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 blah. And I'm a kid, like, I'm like in 10th grade, and he's like, yeah, you got the money for it, you got them. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I don't even know what he's saying. Like, it's hard for me to understand it because I've never, like, I don't know what he's saying. Like, I ain't crossed that track just yet. I wasn't in the streets. I don't know what he was saying. He was talking street talk. So, but he cussed me out and was asking me if I had the money to pay off the people for the hit. And then after that, after my brother got murdered, he was like, oh, I'm gonna buy you a car once I get this money back from this thing that I did. That's what they'll say every time they get somebody murdered. They always be like, oh, I'll buy you something after I get this money back from this thing that I did. I noticed they said that 2 times, 2 different murders. So my dad bought me a car based on some money he got back from something that he did. So I'm just gonna leave that there, but I'm gonna make another video for that or whatever. But my mom kicked me out, and she thought I was gonna be homeless on my ass, just like, you know, she wanted me to. But I ended up getting me an apartment because I went to my sister's house, and I stayed at my sister's house for a day. And my sister And my best friend at the time, my best friend became my enemy, and my sister and my best friend became best friends. So they would bully me while I was at work, just taunt me, fuck with me, harass me, and everything like that. And God showed up one day. My sister, the manager literally put me in. I was literally a manager, y'all, and I was only like 18, and I was literally a floor manager. So he would have me put people where I wanted them. So that day I told my sister to get in the window, and y'all, she got in the window, and then like 5 minutes later, like she running to the bathroom, screaming and crying. Like I'm like, what happened now? Like I'm like, oh my God, not another call. Like what's going on? So I take her spot, and I'm taking the person's money. No, I'm finishing up their order, and I look, and it's my sister, baby daddy, and he with another girl. So I'm like, okay, God don't like ugly, and he'll sit me front row. He'll sit me front row to the show, like, and you know, me being me, I have a heart, I have compassion. You know, I just went to the bathroom. I let him know it's gonna be all right. Now this is after this witch is on my job, taunting me, picking at me. Nick, mind you, I got her the job, her and my frenemy. So my sister's mad about that, so she kicks me out. I only stayed there for a day, right? And she kicks me out, right? And just so happened, like, he showed up to talk to her about him getting caught cheating. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, she kicking me out. My mama done kicked me out, and now she kicking me out, and I don't have nowhere to go. And I gotta get my tag and stuff for my car. I get paid Friday. And he was like, nah, hell nah, hell nah. Y'all ain't finna do her like that. Like, he's the only one that ever stood up for me. Like, him and my brother, they're the only one that stood up for me. My sister baby daddy was like, hell nah, yo mama ain't shit, you ain't shit, and I be watching how y'all do this girl. I be watching how y'all do this girl. Y'all don't fucking treat her fair at all. He was like, lady, get in the fucking car. I bet you I'll find you a place. I bet you I'll find you a place, y'all. I got in the car. We went one place. We went to one apartment complex. Y'all, when I walked in, I sat down. I showed her what I had. I just had a few not bank statements. I just had a few paycheck stubs, let her know I had a job. Y'all, I got my keys the same day because God is so good. Their plan that they wanted for me, like my family, they always, and remember this, any gang stalker, that's the first thing they work on is your stability. They do not want you to be stability. They don't want you to have stability at all. So I got my keys that same day. So y'all, I moved in or whatever. I moved in my apartment. Now this is where things get creepy. My mom started calling me and telling me what I was doing inside of my apartment. Creepy. And I never really thought too much of it because it's like they do so much magic to the point where you're not thinking of what's going on. I had sleep paralysis. There was witches riding my backs at night. There was one time where my whole body was stuck, and I could just move my eyeballs. I could not get up. It's like something heavy was on my chest. They would send so many attacks this whole time. I knew it was them because I knew they was evil and malicious when I first met them, but I just couldn't remember that it was them. Like, they was doing so much magic on me. Like, I stayed getting in car wrecks. I stayed getting in freaking car wrecks. I remember, you know, it got crazy one time. I got in a car wreck, and my dad was trying to convince me, like, why didn't you just go ahead and be with the Lord? And I was like, what? He was like, cuz I could have did just so right. I could have had that casket. That casket would have been nice. And I got ties with the funeral home. I could have did your makeup and everything so nice. And I'm like, this is where things get crazier and crazier and crazier. Then my dad tells me, he starts telling me what's going on inside my apartment, detail for detail. Y'all, they would pay people to put cameras up in my house. These people are crazy, y'all. They are crazy, but they met their match. Do you understand? They have met their match. They would pay people to act like they coming to do an inspection, put cameras up in my home. Like, he telling me specifically what's going on in my home. And I know now that it's because he had cameras up in my home, and my mom would do the same thing. My sister would do the same thing. It's like they would never call me before they come to my house, but they would, always end up at my house while I'm there. Like, how awkward is that? Like, have you ever just gone to somebody's house and you don't have to call first, but you know they're there? How do you know they're there, right? So they was just all in this they're all in this cult. They're all just steady and with me, even as an adult and everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to the meat of things, because everything, it just got real. So I remember I had to take my mom to the bus station, and I was dating my oldest daughter's dad, right? So I go and pick her up, and I get her. We go to the bus station. As soon as we stop at the bus station, the whole car just shut off. As soon as we pull in the parking lot, the whole car just shut off, y'all. So I'm like, dang, like, that hasn't happened the whole time. Like, we had his friend car for a couple of days, and that never happened. So he gets out, and he like, let me check it out. He popped the hood. So y'all know, when the hood of the car is up, like, the person sitting in the car, you can't see. So my mom, she like, oh, I know a thing or two about cars. Let me get out and help him. So they're up underneath the hood, and God just told me their plan will not work. So I'm like, what plan? But God knows me. He knows my heart. He knows me better than I know myself. And he knew I was not ready to, get that information right then and there. And he just kept saying, their plan will not work. Their plan will not work. And I'm like, what plan? And he said it so loud again that I jumped out of the car, right? And so when I came on the side of the car, it's like she hurried up and moved her hand off of his, or they was holding hands, y'all, and touching hands and making plans. That's what they was doing. They was touching each other, y'all, and making plans, because she hurried up and snatched her hand or whatever. And so, like, I kind of, like, put a pin in that. So I'm like, okay, I thought God was maybe talking about that was the plan. Like, they was funneling with each other, but I didn't say nothing. I'm going to let everything play out. So, my mom comes back from Atlanta, and she just calls me out the blue one day, and she was like, oh, you need to come to my house so you can sign these papers. Like, once again, they don't never ask me to do anything. They tell me what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. And I'm like, sign what papers? Like, and she like, oh, this life insurance policy. I said, absolutely not. I'm not signing no life insurance policy, and I don't give you permission to have one on me. And I hung up my phone, like, because I already know, like, they evil and they wicked and they malicious, but it's like I'm not really putting my hand on it, but it's like I know it. The facts are always there. They've been there since I was a little girl. Let me backtrack some, because this is important in my case. When I was like in the 4th grade, she got my name changed. And I remember I didn't want to get my name changed. And I was like, I asked her, because I was that child that, like, my other siblings, like, they never questioned what my mom wanted to do. They just did it. I was that child that I would be like, so why do I got to get my name changed? And she was like, because if anything is left to you, like inheritance or money, anything like that, if anything is left to you, then you can claim it. My mom always talked to me with an attitude. Like, she always talked to me like, the question that anything, it disturbs her to even talk to me or interact with me. So I'm like, okay. So fast forward to the plot, to the plan.